From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 5:30, streaming now.
And now at 5:30, there's a little more time for indie-based nonprofits to apply for some extra help. What's available and how you can get this extra financial boost. And calling pizza lovers, a famous Chicago pizzeria is setting up shop in Carmel and looking to fill dozens of jobs. All the details next. Lindsay.
Topping our lineup this Friday, professional athletes are protesting in different ways to bring awareness to racial injustice. Experts break down why their platforms are especially useful during this time. Farmers in Iowa are worried about what comes next 2 weeks after hurricane-force winds hit the state. Just how much crop damage they're seeing and what it could mean for prices. People posting vacation photos online are getting criticized for taking a trip during COVID. The impact this trip shaming is having and what may be a better response.
Thank you, Lindsay. Let's head out to Putnam County. It looks good right now. You can see a mixture of clouds and sunshine. The cumulus clouds that you see on occasion building into some thunderstorms, but at least for now, most of that southwest then of Greencastle and Cloverdale. Around the Spencer, we'll zoom in toward Bloomington, Lake Monroe. All of this spotty activity is drifting kind of to the northwest. It's rotating around remnants from Laura. These are heavier downpours just east of 231 between Bloomfield and Spencer, also over Sullivan. Big picture, we'll have these spotty showers and thunderstorms this evening. We'll wait for this line of thunderstorms to come together along the cold front. That will increase our chance of rain for the overnight hours. Temperature in Indy is 84. That's what happens when you have rain. Temperature in Kokomo at 77. 71 overnight tonight. 40% chance for thunderstorms overnight, a few of which could be on the strong side.
The pandemic has hit a lot of needed nonprofit businesses hard. So there is some good news. The deadlines have been extended for those businesses to apply for grants to safely reopen. Businesses like this daycare. WRTV did a story on earlier this month. The United Way of Central Indiana is pushing the deadline to Tuesday to apply for restart grants. Leaders with the United Way say it is important to support the work these nonprofits are doing as they incur extra costs to keep safely helping the community.
These are essential workers for our providing support for individuals and families that need human services on a daily and regular basis in order to be able to have quality of life. And so they have been continuing to provide those over time, and the need has been growing and growing.
Again, that deadline is now Tuesday. The Restart Grants program exists thanks to a partnership between United Way and the city of Indianapolis. A legendary Chicago pizzeria is getting ready to open its first Indiana location and needs to hire Hoosiers to make and deliver its deep dish pizzas and more. Lou Malnati's Pizzeria is set to open in Carmel in October at 11435 Spring Mill Road. They are looking to hire 50 people to serve as kitchen and phone staff and delivery drivers. They are hosting 2 hiring events this week. They'll be held Tuesday and Thursday, September 1st and 3rd, from noon to 6 each day at 2902 West 86th Street, Suite 110, next to Pier 1. If you can't make it, you can apply online. We'll have the information in this story at hiringhoosiers.com. And by the way, we learned the pizzeria is planning a second Indiana location in Broad Ripple sometime in 2021. Lindsay.
The remnants of Hurricane Laura are causing new problems beyond Texas and Louisiana. Reported tornadoes destroyed homes in and around Jonesboro, Arkansas. Meanwhile, the damage is catastrophic in parts of Louisiana and Texas. People who wrote it out say they wish they hadn't.
When they say to leave, leave.
I didn't feel safe, and I didn't feel safe for my child.
Communication is limited in areas in the storm's direct path. There's no water or power in some cities like Lake Charles. At least 8,000 homes are destroyed or have major damage. Even more people moved into shelters that the Red Cross is supporting overnight. And they do have COVID protective measures in place. Volunteering also looks different, with nearly equal the amount of Red Cross workers on the ground and virtually.
So things like mental health services, where in the past we would have been on site at a shelter, now we're providing that online.
Our team's been working together for a while and we've been able to stay safe. We haven't had any cases. So for us, we figure that the most dangerous thing is getting around a new group of people that we don't know where they've been.
Other disaster relief teams like Convoy of Hope are also responding differently. They arrived overnight in Lake Charles to set up a supplies drive-through service. They can load food, water, and other essential items into a couple thousand cars a day.
And what we try to do is come along and say, hey, it is bad. You can't whitewash that. But listen, tomorrow is going to be better than today. And then the next day is going to be better than that.
You can support both Convoy of Hope and the Red Cross through donations. Check out their websites as well for volunteer opportunities in person and virtually. The Commitment March, bringing thousands of activists to D.C. It's centered on calls for policing reforms, decrying racial violence, and demanding voting rights protections. One of Martin Luther King Jr.'s sons spoke of his father's vision for the country, saying everyone can be great because everyone can serve.
If Dad were here today, I'm sure he would implore us not to deify him or selectively quote him when convenient. He would want us to be drama majors for justice, to champion the ideals he promoted: racial justice, social equality, and peace.
The event marks the 57th anniversary of the March on Washington, where King delivered the historic I Have a Dream speech. Still ahead in our lineup, professional athletes are using their platform to call for change. Experts break down why their status is especially useful during this time. The NBA announced steps to address racial inequality today. The league and its players will establish a social justice coalition. It'll promote a variety of things, including voting and criminal justice reform. In cities where the NBA controls the arena, teams will convert the venue into a voting location. The league also plans on creating ads that promote civil engagement. This comes as NBA playoff games resume tomorrow. They were boycotted in protest of the shooting of Jacob Blake. Teams from other leagues followed as well. Now, these boycotts shine light on the power and platform that professional athletes have. Experts say athletes aren't just giving a voice to the unheard, they're also bringing awareness to those who aren't paying attention and demanding action.
What these players now have to do is to say, what are our demands moving forward? And I think there are some demands that they can actually put forth that include, first, saying that they don't want to use their tax money to pay for civilian payouts for police brutality.
Professional athletes also give a unique perspective to these protests. They have their own experiences that relate to what's happening in our country.
These are high-profile incidences, and that the athletes are just saying, look, we are not here to entertain you. That many, especially because basketball players are predominantly Black, that they had these uncomfortable and terrorizing experiences with police.
Experts also point out that professional athletes have resources that the average person does not have. That's millions, sometimes billions of dollars to help with a variety of things, including mobilizing different organizations and helping victims' families. They're also well connected, assisting and directing organizations across the country and tackling issues that the communities are facing. More in our lineup. Farmers in Iowa are worried 2 weeks after hurricane-force winds hit the state. Just how much crop damage they're seeing and what it could mean for prices. Student loan debt is a struggle for everyone, but Black Americans appear to be especially affected by their outstanding loans. Black borrowers are among the most likely to regret taking out student loans. A new survey from Student Loan Hero finds 45% regret borrowing altogether. Now, this is slightly more than white and Hispanic borrowers. Only Native Americans in the survey have greater regrets. The average education debt for Black Americans for the class of 2019 is more than $32,000. The average for the class as a whole is nearly $30,000.
These concerns around debt are really rooted in a larger issue around access to capital and the fact that Black families have a long-standing situation where they've been deprived of opportunities to accumulate wealth. And so we're just seeing a manifestation of that within the college environment, but it really is contextualized within larger social issues.
Crystal Williams is an assistant professor at the University of Alabama College of Education. She says addressing those racial wealth gaps is a long-term need, but in the short term, we need to do a better job of helping students understand the different costs of colleges and that the return on investment for their credentials may not be the same. Just 29% of people identifying as Black in the survey say they worked in both the industry and role they wanted after college. Every other racial background polled 40% or higher.
I think having more access to resources within high schools will definitely help, but we have to recognize that there is some social capital that comes from families that Black students may not have the same access to in the college going process.
She says Black students should get a sense of what scholarships and grants are available at the school that they're considering. The United Negro College Fund and the Thurgood Marshall College Fund are two good places to turn for financial support. For those who already have debt, Student Loan Hero says prioritizing paying off higher interest debt first is important. Refinancing may also be an option. A coding school is working to increase diversity in the tech industry. Tech Elevator runs a 14-week coding boot camp in Cleveland. The school is now investing $1 million in scholarships for women, people of color, and those who identify as transgender or non-binary. A junior developer who learned at Tech Elevator says it will bring much-needed representation to the field.
Since the start of the pandemic, more people are considering renting campers as a safe vacation option. But they might not be for everybody. Consumer reporter John Matteries weighs the pros and cons so you don't waste your money.
Instead of dealing with planes, trains, and automobiles in hotels, a lot of travelers are thinking of renting an RV for upcoming fall or spring trips. And while it's a great way to avoid COVID-19, there are a few downsides to know about. It's the vacation rage of 2020, according to Money Magazine, renting an RV, motorhome, or camper. Money calls them virus-friendly, since you drive across the country with your own bedroom and kitchen. But Money says many people end up surprised at the total cost. Rental can range from $100 to $300 per night, similar to a hotel. But campsites are another $50 to $150 a night. And since they get just 4 to 10 miles per gallon, gas can cost $75 to $100 per day. And from the Doesn't That Stink file, the biggest cost surprise for many people, insurance. Your auto insurance may not cover the full value of that RV, and your credit card may not cover it at all. You may have to pay $25 or more per day for RV insurance. But in the end, it's still cheaper than a $500 a night luxury resort. And you have your own COVID-free accommodations, which can be well worth the cost. Bottom line, campers are a great way to stay safe during the pandemic. Just know the costs involved so you don't waste your money. I'm John Matteries, WRTV News.
I find this interesting. Of course, this is what I do for a living. But check out the cloud right in the middle. See how bright it is on the top? The sun shining on that. It's like the light switch is off at the bottom of the cloud where the sun's not making it all the way through. At times it looks like a downpour, and in spots we have downpours. Go into Monroe County, just clearing Lake Monroe, not far from Nashville. That stretches west then into other portions of Greene County and Sullivan. And we'll see this continue, I think, on a spotty basis through the evening hours, so it may impact some of the high school football games this evening. We've not had a lot of lightning with this. This is the swirl from the remnants then of Hurricane Laura. Biggest impact stays south as far as severe weather potential. Some heavy rains Nashville, then down into Mississippi and Alabama out ahead of the storm system. Temperatures tonight, warm. It's humid. That is a factor for the players, certainly. 84 degrees. Temperatures at kickoff still above 80, and the humidity will still be very high. It feels like 90 in Indianapolis. Let this play out. The showers that we have now to the south, this is 7 o'clock. They may lose steam as they come to the north. Then overnight, from the north and west, a cold front will generate some showers and thunderstorms. Few of these could be strong. Damaging wind would be the main threat, but it's not a favorable time overnight as we start to cool the atmosphere. Those will lose some steam as they slide to the south and east. Temperatures over the weekend do improve in the sense humidity drops and the temperature drops as well. As you can see, Sunday's high, 79.
The struggle Americans are feeling to pay their mortgages is hitting every type of household. New data shows nearly 4 million homeowners, or just over 7% of all mortgages, are in forbearance. The numbers have remained steady over the last few weeks. Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, and private bank loans are all impacted. Also concerning is that 3/4 of those in forbearance had their terms extended beyond 3 months. The CARES Act allows borrowers to delay monthly payments for up to a year on government-backed loans. Other lenders have offered about 6 months, but it's not clear how much longer they will extend that. Meanwhile, people are getting hit with messages on apps and social media offering help because of the pandemic. The Federal Trade Commission put out a warning about this today, saying people are getting messages on Facebook or WhatsApp offering money through grants, food coupons, and other giveaways. What's concerning is the offers look like they're coming from legit companies like Pepsi, Walmart, Whole Foods, and Target. Officials say they're all fake. Don't click on the links because they're phishing scams to collect information or possibly put malware on your devices. As families along the Gulf Coast deal with the aftermath of Hurricane Laura, people in Iowa are still without power after a derecho with winds of up to 140 miles per hour hit parts of the state 2 weeks ago. The term derecho characterizes a strong line of fast-moving thunderstorms that can produce hurricane-force straight-line winds. Our Dan Grossman shows us how they're still not finished cleaning up and how the storm severely damaged crops, meaning potential price hikes.
When the equivalent to a Category 4 hurricane rips through the fabric of a city, loss is pervasive. But when it destroys the only home Matt Becker, his wife, and 3 daughters have ever known,
your new one will be a hell of a lot better than this one.
Loss is magnified.
Watching them learn to walk, run, play, and all that good stuff that you get to do with little kids. And unfortunately, we're like everybody in the 250 square miles here that's been affected from it.
When it came through on August 10th, the derecho spared nothing. Not the family's home, not their garage, not their main source of income.
You know, I mean, it's just a mess.
It's left Matt's dad, Steve, wondering what will come as he stands in broken fields of once tall standing corn.
But we had a good crop coming. We really did. I mean, I don't know. But the biggest worry of everybody that out there is how we get through this stuff. What are we going to do?
Steve's 800 acres comprise only a small portion of the 10 to 14 million the Farm Bureau estimates were either damaged or destroyed by the storm.
But yes, this will have a dramatic emotional effect on a lot of producers, a lot of farmers.
A toll on the men and women who are preparing to harvest come the end of September and earn back the money they had invested in this year's crop.
It's going to be very difficult for us to get the work done on a timely basis, and then the frustration of everything being slowed.
Iowa accounts for around 20% of the nation's corn supply. Considering its importance to livestock, meat, and ethanol, the market effects could be far-reaching.
Next year's another year, I guess.
Some corn is salvageable, but it won't weigh the same or produce the same quality, meaning farmers might make back a quarter of what they expected.
It's just the way it is. Nothing you can do.
And that's not even counting the crops that are ruined by mold or drought.
I've heard 3 guys. A guy just left the yard here about an hour ago. He said, and he goes, I'm done. He goes, I'm not fighting this no more.
The loss here is undeniable.
We pride ourselves on integrity, hard work.
But only second.
And it's just stuff.
To the prevailing resolve that will allow Matt and his family to start anew.
I heard it once, if every American was an American like me, what type of America would America be? And if you think about that statement and you say that to yourself, I guarantee you when you wake up in the morning and look yourself in the mirror, you'll be a different man that day.
Near Cedar Rapids, Iowa, I'm Dan Grossman reporting.
Finally in our lineup, people posting vacation photos online are getting criticized for taking a trip during COVID. The impact this trip shaming is having and what may be a better response. People increased their spending by almost 2% last month. These latest numbers from the Commerce Department show a dose of support for a struggling economy. Income also went up by 0.4% in July. Taking a vacation could come with some unexpected backlash, shaming from others on social media. As reported in USA Today, online posts asking questions about when or where to travel or posting pictures of a getaway are drawing criticism, calling into question priorities or moral character for traveling during the pandemic. Some online forums like Scott's Cheap Flights have even issued reminders for users to be civil in comments. A professor of clinical psychology tells us that she's not surprised to hear of the rise in shaming online.
We want to be able to have some control. And the kind of obvious thing to do is get angry and try to shame people. I think that's a very normal human reaction.
June Tangney says people shaming others may also feel like they're just missing out. Someone else is traveling while they're staying at home. The problem with shaming is it's usually not very effective.
If you want people to change their behavior and to behave more responsibly as part of the team of let's get rid of coronavirus, that is not the way to do it. Because when people feel shamed, they get defensive.
Instead, if you have to say something, Taney suggests showing concern. Tell someone you're worried about their travel plans instead of insulting them. Surprise COVID-related medical bills continue to end up in mailboxes, bills for testing that patients shouldn't have to pay for. Whether it happens to you or your neighbor, experts say we're all potentially affected.
If people understand that it's going to cost money to go get a test, they won't do it.
Monday, the efforts to stop surprise COVID medical bills and how to avoid having to pay something you shouldn't if you get a bill.
A very steamy Friday evening with some isolated showers and thunderstorms. I'm going to take you on a radar tour here just after the top of the hour. Let's talk about tomorrow. We start to see more sunshine and the risk for rain will disappear. Temperatures still in the low 80s and humid in the morning, but improving after that. That's all for the